Hello folks, hope everybody's keeping well and welcome to part 2 of the trip to the Normandy Landing Beaches. Part 1, click on the link up here, that was all about the preparation, and part 2 is the journey. So just making my way down to the ferry terminal now to leave Jersey, and about an hour and a half's boat trip from Jersey to St Malo. Cheers, dude. Goodbye, Jersey. Bonjour, France. So it's night time now in France. Just got to clear the French police, customs, and then on to Pont-à-Cent. It's about a 30-minute ride. So we'll just clear the customs, get my passport stamped. Merci, monsieur, la prochaine. Thank you. Well, here we go then. So here we are then at the Ibis Hotel in Pont-à-Cent, and we have a fuel station on the left hand side, which looks fair, mate. That wasn't too bad a ride. I tell you what folks, I'm glad I've got my Kieffer heated jacket on, 8 degrees. I've got the seat heat on and the handlebar grips on. Boy is it chilly. And one thing's certain, I don't like riding at night. Yeah, da 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 da. Welcome to the Ibis Hotel, Pont-à-Cent. Woohoo! Right then, here we are. Time to go and check in. Bosh. Well, good morning folks, well here we are, first day of the actual tour. Ibis Hotel, Pont-à-Cent, Bayeux War Cemetery, and the nice thing is we've got secure parking, so hopefully the bike's going to be good today. We're ready to go. I've had a good night's sleep and had quite a nice breakfast actually. Nice restaurant, so I'm booked into the restaurant for tea tonight. Bike's ready to go, and what we're going to do is just go and get some fuel, and then we've got about a 1 hour 20-minute ride up to the Pegasus Bridge Memorial. So I think without further ado, let's get some fuel and let's crack on. Woohoo! Yes! Hotel, petrol station, closed, but it's got one of these insert your credit cards in, so let's see if that works. We're looking at the unleaded Sans Plume 98. So let's try that. Let's do the SB95 actually. We are going to start filling. Pump number 4. Let's pump number 4 over there. So gone for Sans Plume 95, which is unleaded in French. Sans Plume. Didn't do much last night, so that's only taken 4 litres. Brilliant. Job done. So let's hit the road then, not literally. So about an hour and 20 minutes then to get up to the Pegasus Memorial Bridge. So that's the first port of call. And there's not much to see, it's just dual carriageway work, so see you in a minute. Okay folks, so here we are then, we're just about to arrive at Benneville, which is the town where the Pegasus Bridge is. So I've got to say, my 4 riding buddies would actually be thankful that they didn't come on this trip, because that was really cold, 4 degrees on that hour and 15-minute ride up. So I'm really glad the old BMW's got the heated handlebar grips. it's got the heated seat, and I've got this car seated jack on, so that's worth its weight in gold. So there we go, that's the new Pegasus Bridge right in front of us. So I think what we'll do, we'll find somewhere to park, and then we'll go and take some video and some pickies. Yeah, it was a cold one, but I'm quite tasty with my jacket on. So in fact, so that should be the gliding cafe there on the left, and then this is the famous Pegasus Bridge Cafe Gondore, and that cafe, well, that place was the first premises on French soil to be liberated when the British force landed just over the other side of the bridge in their 4-horse gliders where all those flags are. So I think we'll park up and have a little bit of a stroll. So this is the first place of visiting on the tour of the Normandy Landing Beaches. Yes. So here we go then. This is the famous Pegasus Bridge. So obviously this is not the original one. This is a new one, bigger, wider, replaced in, I think it was 1994. And the original one is in a museum over that way, which we're going to have a look at shortly. So Cafe Grande is clearly not open. The other cafe over there, the 3 Gliders, is not open either at the moment. But I'm pretty warm anyway, so let's go and take some pickies and stuff. So the famous Pegasus Bridge then, so let's go across it and have a look at the other side, which is where the gliders landed. And I think that Major Howard was the commanding chap there. So yeah, this is the new bridge, 1994 that this was put in, so it's slightly wider than the old one. But yeah, the gliders landed the other side, bearing in mind it was night time and everything. No GPS. I mean, I fly my Airbus aeroplanes and we've got GPSs and all that kind of stuff, and to land here at night time being shot at, well, maybe not being shot at, but absolutely amazing feat. So there's the bridge. So the bridge is one of those systems where it's sort of, it's like a rocker chair, so you can see the curves there, and the bridge sort of rolls back on the curves and then goes vertical. But let's go and have a look at the gliders where they landed. What an amazing feat of skill and luck. Right then, so this is where the gliders landed, the Horsa gliders, just after midnight on the morning of the 6th of June. It's quite fascinating actually to think the gliders actually landed in this small area between the canal over here on the left and this small lake stroke pond. So these are marker stones where the gliders landed. Absolutely amazing. And then we've got the Pegasus Bridge in the background, named after the emblem of the parachute regiment. So this is certainly on my bucket list, and I think everybody needs to come here for a little bit of reflection, really. Just to think what all these people gave. Yeah. Again, another marker stone for where one of the gliders landed. And the one over here was where the commanding officer, Major John Howard's glider, landed. Talk about landing precision right next to the bridge, which is what their objective was. There is Major John Howard, Distinguished Service Order. Well done, mate. Looks very British as well, doesn't he? Yeah. And this is where their glider landed. Amazing. And I think one of the gliders landed in there and somebody drowned, and they were the first casualty. Cafe Grande, that was the first place to be liberated on French soil. So on the bike, 200 metres over that way, museum. Bosh. Well, that's Pegasus Bridge done, so just going to nip across the road over to the Memorial Pegasus, where the original bridge is. The museum is literally a stone's throw from the bridge. Parking here on the right hand side. Right, this will do me. Plenty of parking. Emergency call system restricted. No idea what that means. None at all. Maybe it's to do with the SOS thing. Who knows? Right, let's go and have a look at the museum. Memorial Pegasus, and there's the bridge over there. Not sure how much it is, but we'll go and find out. There you go. Terrace, €8.90. Right, let's go inside. And there we go, nice picture showing where the gliders landed. 1, 2, and I think there's a third one back there, so there's 3 gliders that landed here. So folks, there's the original Pegasus Bridge. So this is part of the museum, and the museum itself is a cracking museum actually, €8.90 entrance fee. Certainly recommend it, and some really nice exhibits in there, very nicely presented. As you can see here, there's just a lot of stuff to have a look at, and obviously it's all geared towards the parachute regiment when they came in here and took the bridge, or took this bridge. So yeah, very well worth a visit. Yep, definitely. Right, so let's get on the bike and continue the tour. So our next stop is just here, which is the Kieffer Monument, and this monument was erected for one of the French chaps. In fact, they had a load of French in the UK, and he was like Special Air Service or something, or their equivalent, and it's dedicated to him. So I'm going to park around here somewhere, not sure where. In fact, yeah, I don't know where I'm going to park. I might just sling over here actually. Yeah, be a naughty boy and park it here so I don't have to pay. That'll do me. So this is Sword Beach, the other side. This is the Kieffer Monument, and it's called La Flamme, and it's erected on the top of a German bunker, and it's to commemorate the French commandos who were part of, well, they were in the UK, and it was Commander Kieffer who led them, and they were like the first French soldiers to come into the landing beaches. So yeah, this is the Kieffer Monument on top of the bunker. Yeah, and Philip Kieffer, statue over there to him. Yeah, again, beautifully maintained, very pretty, very pretty. And then this is Sword Beach. Let me give you some statistics. Just look on my phone. So this will be the first stat, folks. So statistically wise, Sword Beach, 29,000 troops landed on here on the morning of the 6th of June 1944, and then they had 630 casualties. Yeah, 29,000 troops, dear me, what an awful lot of people. And this is the Kieffer Monument, La Flamme. Again, you need to just plan your trip, have some kind of timeline. There's the Commandant, Capitaine Philip Kieffer, the Kieffer Commandos. There he is. And La Flamme on top of the German bunker. So all these names here are the French commandos who came in with Philip Kieffer, and they were killed. So that's all their memorial stones to the heroic French commandos. Okay folks, so that was the Kieffer Monument, and I'm still about 15 minutes behind schedule, so we've got 8 miles and a bit to go to Canada House, which is on Juno Beach. So let's go there. But yeah, everything is so well maintained, and a bit naughty, free parking here, but don't tell anybody. I won't tell if you don't tell. Yeah, really nice, and of course the weather's great as well, sunny and blue skies What more can you want? So next stop is Canada House on Juno Beach. So the D514 from the Kieffer Monument on Sword Beach, which is at Oosterholm, if I pronounce that correctly. The D514, it starts on the seafront, then cuts inland, and then it's pretty much like this, with lots of little pockets of villages along the way, lots of eateries, cafes and things like that. But yeah, predominantly it's a 30-mile-an-hour B road all the way along. So as we approach Juno Beach, Canada House area, which is where the Canadians came ashore, we should start to see lots of maple leaf flags, i.e. Canadian flags. Canada House is next. Yeah, da 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 da. So after 9 miles of B roads on the D514, roads pretty much like this actually. We're at Bayeux Cemetery, I believe it is, and Canada House over here. We should start to see some Canadian flags, which we do. And basically D-Day, a lot of the Canadian troops came ashore here, and you can see that Tudor kind of looking house there. That's Canada House, and basically it was one of the few places which was left intact, so it's become a monument kind of thing, an homage to the Canadians, who I think they took it over as a bit of a HQ as well. So there's free parking here and a few cafes as well or something, so I might have a little bit of lunch here. So yeah, free parking, and there's a petrol station back there at the supermarket. So here we go then, Canada House. Canada House monument, and look at my notes then. So 21,400 troops rocked up on this beach on the morning of D-Day. Casualty wise, 1,200 casualties, so yeah, quite a few. And there we go, Juno Beach, Canada House. If I get some pictures of what it was like when it was on D-Day, I'll put them up here. But yeah, Canada House, quite Tudor-y looking, isn't it? La Maison des Canadiens, Canada House. And I think it's still owned by the family who were in it in the Second World War. This house was liberated at first light on D-Day, 6th of June 1944, by the men of the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, who were the first Canadians to land on this beach. It may very well have been the first house on French soil to be liberated by seaborne Allied forces. Within sight of this house, over 100 men of the Queen's Own Rifles were killed or wounded in the first minutes of the landings. Canada House.
Okay folks, so I've actually made a schoolboy error in that I failed to make sure that the microphones were charged and the batteries run out on the camera microphone. So back on the bike now, and it's a 3-mile run from Bayeux Cemetery to Corsol Cemetery, if I've pronounced that correctly. Very pleasant ride, and that's going to take us to the Juno Beach Centre Museum. Free parking, well, it certainly was for me on the motorbike, and the museum was constructed by monies raised from the families of the veterans of the Canadian forces that landed on Juno Beach at D-Day. Entrance fees into the museum, ticket price for the museum itself is €7.50, and they've got 2 bunkers outside which you can visit with a tour guide, and that's going to cost you €6, or you can get a combined ticket for the two of €12.50. Sadly, I didn't give the museum the time that it deserved. I would say 1 hour 30 for the museum itself, and then 45 minutes for the bunker tour, so you're looking at just over 2 hours. I just didn't have enough time in my schedule. So it's a 7-mile ride along the D514 to get to the Royal Engineers Monument, and this gives you an elevated view overlooking Arromanches Les-Bains, where the Royal Engineers constructed the Mulberry Harbour on Gold Beach. And folks, I would certainly recommend you visit here. Doesn't cost anything. Parking for the motorbike was free again, and as you turn in on the left hand side, you've got a raised viewing area, and there are washroom facilities underneath this viewing area free of charge. So I just parked the bike at the back in the area which is reserved for motorhomes, RVs, etc., and then basically just walked around. Very, very pleasant. There were lots of school kids around. Obviously it's a very popular educational visit because you get such a good elevated view of the remains of the Mulberry Harbour. And I would suggest just check the tide times. I would get here when it's sort of low tidest to give you the best view of the Mulberry Harbour.
You've got to come here, folks. Just the view is absolutely amazing. It really is absolutely superb. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and you get a great view of the whole Mulberry Harbour. So yeah, this is definitely, come here folks, it's the British Royal Engineers Memorial, and these are the fellas that did the Mulberry Harbour. And then it's going to be down to Arromanches for something to eat, hopefully, because I'm quite hungry. Let's go and just look at the other bits of the memorial, and then on the bike and down to Arromanches.
Okay, so it's back on the bike again, right turn out of the car park, heading down the hill towards Arromanches Les-Bains, and as we leave the monument on the right hand side there is a 360-degree cinema, which I actually didn't see, but that just shows the Mulberry Harbour and I believe Arromanches Les-Bains as well. But if you've got time, yeah, I guess it would be worth a visit. So Gold Beach then, there were 24,970 troops landed, 400 British soldiers killed and 1,000 casualties. So here we are then entering Arromanches Les-Bains itself. The museum, the old museum, has been demolished on the right hand side here, and the new museum is on the right hand side, and that opened on the 1st of April 2023. Arromanches itself is a very pretty little village with a nice square in front of the museum, lots of restaurants, cafes, and a little pedestrianised area in front of me here. I'm going to turn left and park behind the restaurant here in the paid car parking area. Cost a couple of euros, but you can actually park on the seaside of the museum on the square there. I did notice a couple of bikes there on the left here as we look at it. When I came out of the museum, they were parked there, so if you don't want to pay for the parking, a couple of euros, you can just park there where we'll see the bike shortly. So this is the small pedestrianised area with the restaurants and cafes, very nice. And then I decided to eat in the Fish & Co restaurant. Very nice indeed it was. Finished my plate more or less, and then once I'd finished that, it was across the square into the Musée de Débarquement, if I've pronounced that correctly. Entrance price €12.70. Brand new museum, amazing. Dump your motorcycle stuff, helmets, jackets in a locker if you so wish, and use the very nice new washroom facilities. Get one of these, it just talks you around all the various displays and exhibits, which were top class, no problems there. And yeah, you're going to need at least 2 hours to get the maximum benefit of all these amazing exhibits on display. Mulberry Harbour B then was the one at Gold Beach that the British engineers built, and there was another one just up the road where the American landing beaches were. Mulberry A, but that got damaged in a storm, so was out of action permanently. And this Mulberry B, the British one, that took about 12 days to become operational, and it was there for about 6 months fully operational, and it was the busiest port in the world, and it was about the size of Dover actually, so it's a massive structure. And they've got some amazing sort of modern presentations showing you how it's constructed and everything. Fascinating to watch, really was very good, and highly recommended this museum without a doubt. This is one of the best museums I've ever been to actually. And then you see here, this presentation is actually facing out towards the Mulberry Harbour itself. Got a really nice view of the remains of the Mulberry Harbour. And again, I would say go here when the tide is low. And then what you will notice is there are some vertical sun blinds, very interesting. And then what they do is actually project the Mulberry Harbour with the moving vehicles coming inland along the pontoons onto these sun blinds. It's very interesting, never seen that done before, and it just gives you an idea as to the size and how they actually did the Mulberry Harbour. So certainly worth a visit folks, lots and lots of stuff to see. So there we go, I've come out of the museum. Allow yourself 2 hours at least. Motorbikes parked on the right side, that's free parking basically, so put your bikes there, and my bike was parked around behind the restaurant on the left there. Very pleasant area in front of the museum, sit down, have an ice cream, and as I say, that's where the other motorbikes were parked, but they were there after I'd come out of the museum, and I was parked around behind the restaurant there you can see in front of us, and I'm just pointing it out now where I was parked. So it's a short walk onto the beach. Just make sure that the tide is low and you get a really good view of all the remains of the Mulberry Harbour itself. Just looking up towards the headland, you can see where the Royal Engineers Monument is on the headland, so you get a really good view. And then, yeah, with the low tide, you just get an excellent view of the remains of the Mulberry Harbour and the massive size of the bits and pieces of the Mulberry Harbour itself. The bike again on the D516, 8 miles from Arromanches Les-Bains down towards the Bayeux War Cemetery. So here we are then, arriving in Bayeux at the War Cemetery, and parking wise, well, I just continued past the cemetery and then go onto a little roundabout, turn right, little back street there, free parking, and I just left the bike there for about the hour or so that I was at the cemetery for. So once the bike was parked, it was only about a 2 or 3 minute walk back towards the cemetery. I'm actually not going to say much here, folks. The cemetery was completed in 1952 and it contains 4,144 Commonwealth burials of the Second World War. 338 of them are unidentified. There are also over 500 war graves of other nationalities, the majority of which are German. The Commonwealth War Graves Committee is responsible for marking and maintaining the graves of those members of the Commonwealth forces, and unlike the American cemetery, you can actually walk up and down the rows of graves if you so wish to look at the headstones. And so it's back on the bike again, 125 miles to my hotel at Ponterosa. I should have stayed closer, folks. 1 hour, 30 minutes or thereabouts. But at the end of a very interesting day, very reflective day, this was waiting for me and it was simply delightful. Ah.